Well, ladies and gentlemen, the day that many people have been hoping for a very long time may have finally come. Now, is it this necessarily the end of the world for this person? Possibly not, but it is a huge and significant back step, and, it could hit this person's pocket. It will hit this person's pocket particularly hard. Bonnie Blue. One of the most infamous names on social media right now, known for some insane stunts and for her work over on OF, and also for her publicity stunts that she's been known for, which is faking getting pregnant, allegedly, for faking being arrested, for faking loads of other stuff. But then there's the notorious challenges of 100 guys in a day, then 1,000 guys in a day. And then there was this new one where she was allegedly going to be doing this petting zoo style thing with 2,000 guys in 24 hours. Which, is it feasible? Absolutely not. But that may never actually come to be, because we all know that the way that she makes money off the back of all of this stuff is through her OF platform. And her OF platform has allegedly been making her around £600,000 to £800,000. Let me just say that again, £600,000 to £800,000 per month. Per calendar month, right? That's not a small amount of money. That is more money than I think anyone is actually making. Okay, but this person's making it. But she has been banned from OF for her extreme challenges. And it seems like this is completely verifiable. Now, we've heard in the past that she's been banned before. She got banned apparently before, but it turned out to not necessarily be true. But this is actually coming out from multiple different sources. So this is from Joe.com, for example. So Bonnie Blue's desperate stunts have led her to be banned from OnlyFans. The controversial adult star and content creator Bonnie Blue has been banned from the subscription service OF due to her quote-unquote extreme challenges. Bonnie Blue has been grabbing headlines for the past months after her challenge of allegedly sleeping with 1,057 men in 24 hours. Recently, the OF model had announced that she wanted to organise a quote-unquote petting zoo challenge. The event, scheduled for June 15th, was promoted as a 24-hour performance where Bonnie would be confined into a glass box with quote-unquote no limits to open participation, as reported by the Tab. Her announcement quickly received a lot of backlash, especially on social media platform TikTok, where many questioned the legitimacy and safety of the act. Now the content creator has had her OF page pulled as her extreme challenge content crossed the line, as per The Sun. A source told The Sun, Bonnie has taken things way too far. She was earning tens of thousands of dollars a month via OF, and now that's gone. Her page has officially been pulled, and her latest stunts have taken things too far. She crossed the line, and OF had no choice but to act. Now, it was reported that she was earning around £600,000 a month on OF. However, now that she's been banned, she will lose out on this monthly revenue completely. Now, a spokesperson for OF has actually spoken out and stated that the extreme challenge content is not available on OF and is not permitted under their acceptable use policy and terms of service. Any breach of our terms of service result in content or account deactivation. The OF model has been heavily criticised online for extreme behaviour challenges, with her latest petting zoo announcement just adding more fuel to the fire. In an interview with Kat Baker's podcast, Bonnie explained her petting zoo would take place in the centre of London, but in a house. Bonnie went on to say that she wanted to beat her record by doing 2,000. It comes not long after Bonnie Blue was exposed for deliberately faking an arrest to hit headlines and to gather more media attention. Now, what is going to be really interesting about this whole thing is if she actually sticks to her guns, and up until this point, she has defended all of her actions by stating that she does it for the love of the sport, right? Now, I can guarantee that the £600,000 a month probably also swayed that decision quite heavily. But now that that's been taken away, will Bonnie Blue continue with these public stunts? Because if she's doing it for the love of the sport and the love of the game, then obviously money's no object. She doesn't care if she's getting paid or not. Like, she'll just continue. But what will be very telling is if she suddenly stops all of these challenges because her income stream stopped, then that would necessarily mean that she's just massively hypocritical and gone against everything that she's claimed to love it for up until this point. Now, obviously, this isn't the end of... Like, many people would be like, oh, this is the end for Bonnie Blue. She's finished. She won't do social media anymore. She can't continue. She's lost her main revenue source. Not necessarily. All right? Not necessarily. There is a lot of other potential paths that Bonnie Blue could follow moving forwards, right? There are plenty of other platforms like OF, less popular, admittedly, but there are a lot of other platforms very similar to that of OF that she can just go to. These subscription-based platforms where, she can just continue to do what she does. Like what Kick is to Twitch, I suppose. Anyone that gets banned from Twitch just goes over to Kick. There's also, the content strategy shift. So to avoid further bans, she might shift towards a less controversial content or stunts to comply with the rules of the platforms that she's on. But this could possibly just alienate her audience who are there for these serious stunts. And, these serious stunts are what grab the headlines of these huge tabloids. If she starts kind of rinsing and repeating the same stuff that everyone else does, she's not going to be as popular. That revenue source suddenly drops again. Obviously, there's the talk about public perception and brand damage. I don't know if someone like Bonnie Blue can necessarily sink any lower in terms of brand. Do you know what I mean? I don't think it's necessarily the end of the world for her. But there's also, the potential of a new venture. Maybe she could just go on to do something completely different with her newfound wealth. Maybe she couldn't make could you imagine if this was just some huge character arc? She started out as this social media villain and became the next Mr. Beast, next philanthropist who just used the wealth that she gained to just make the world a better place for so many people. Could you imagine that kind of character arc? Now, I'm here for that. If that's something that she does, and then she goes down this route of making money through philanthropy and trying to make the world a better place, all kickstarted by the funds that she made by being this controversial figure. Could you imagine? That would be one hell of a character arc. But personally, I don't see that happening. I think this is more of a personal gain thing than anything else, which, the game's the game, I suppose. You've got to make money, but to what end, many would ask. Ultimately, her ability to recover depends on navigating the platform's restrictions. So, because there's also this idea that this isn't just a huge hit for Bonnie Blue. This is a massive, massive hit for OF, who are probably taking... I don't know how OF make their money, right? But it's most likely via the same way every other social media does. They just take a percentage of what is earned by the creator. So for YouTube, for example, I think it's a 60-40 split. All the ad revenue made on videos, 40% goes to YouTube, 60% goes to the creator, or 55-45. It's a very tight margin. Kick, for example, does a 20-80 split, and, maybe OnlyFans takes a small percentage. Now, $600,000 a month, or pounds a month at least, $800,000 roughly. Even if they took 10% of that, that's 80 grand a month that they're losing out on. If it's 20%, $160,000 a month they're losing out on just by permanently banning her from the platform. Now, there is probably a workaround. This might be a temporary ban. This might be a permanent ban. There's nothing definitive set in stone to state that, she's banned for life from what I've seen. But, I mean... she's got leverage on these platforms as well. Let's not forget that. She has got leverage because she can go to OF and be like, look, I was earning this much money. I was making you guys this much money. If I promise not to break these T's and C's again, can I have my account back? Most brands would fold at that. Most companies and social media outlets would probably fold at that and be like, sure. Just make sure, let's make this a slap on the wrist and move on. Who knows? What do you guys think? I was going to say, is this a deserved ban? I think I know what the answer to that will be down in the comments. But do you think she'll make a return? Personally, I think yes. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Way down there, jump together, hit that like button and subscribe. And until next time, I'll speak to you later. Peace.